So as of now, we are everyone logging with the system user, right? HANA database from HANA Studios, we are connecting from the system user, but that is not the best practice. So everyone connecting to the system user, so that will create the some security violations and security process breach and everything here. So in that case, what we can do? So in that case, what we can do? So we need to create the separate user ID and password for the individual management here. So in that case, HANA security is the concept which is related to the not only just individual user IDs and passwords, it is for protecting the important data from the unauthorized access. Also, we will ensure that we are meeting the all the compliance security standards that is adopted by the our company. So we need to use that security standards here, right? SAP HANA provides the the high level like multi level security authentication methods here. They are the multiple security features are available here. Multiple security features are available here. So one is the user and role management, user and role management here, 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 and second one is the authorization and authentication. So authorization and authentication methods, authorization as well as the authentication. The fourth one, so the encryption of the data layer. So data layer encryption here. These and all the security features, users and role, authorization, authentication, encryption of data layer, data folder, data drive. Okay, it to operating system level. Normally we will call it as the persistency layer, and also encryption of also encryption of network layer here, encryption of network layer here, encryption of the network layer. So there are the multiple security features SAP introduced in the HANA database level here. So this is mainly for the protecting the all the finance data, important data. So now why? Because all the data will resides in the HANA database level only in the form of tables. But someone hack your HANA database, someone hack your operating system, they will steal your data, they will theft your data, financial data, right? They will do something, right? So then to avoid this type of issues here, HANA security is like protecting the data from the unauthorized access and everything here. So there are the multiple security features available in the HANA data. Every product, if you take the every application or product, there the definitely there is a security features. Same as like here as well in the HANA, we have the security products are there here. So that is called the user and role management here, which means in the HANA database level, there is a security folder here. So here we can create the user here, right? With the user ID password based method here, authentication, right? Authentication. So you can also use the username. Suppose example, you can create the one username here. The password, we can also enter the password here. We can also enter the password here. So do you want to force to change the password in the next login? And they are the authentication methods. You see the authentication, they are the multiple authentication methods are there here. Authentication methods and authorization, user ID and password, right? They are the multiple authentication methods also available here. Multiple authentication methods. Multiple authentication methods means, so here, so one is the authentication. So user not only required the just access, he required the authentication as well here. So for identifying the HANA database level here, right? Authentication is like a many authentication methods are available here. Single sign-on, right? User ID, password based, Kerberos, right? They are the multiple authentication methods are available here, right? So one is the Kerberos, Kerberos. Second one is the user ID and password. So third one is the SAML security, one of the methods, SAML method, SSO method here. Then we have the SAP, the logon tickets, SAP logon tickets here. Then fifth one is the X.509 certificates methods here. So when you are creating the user, either you can use the password based or SAML or logon ticket, assertion ticket, X.509 or Kerberos method. Any method you can use it here. Normally it's a database, right? Normally the business users will connect only application. So here normally some of the company people, they will use the password based authentication method here, right? So user ID and password based authentication method we created here, right? So we created the username is called the Ravi, right? User ID and password we created here, right? So and also we can also use the SAML, but SAML is required. The one of the third party the identity provider is required. Then logon tickets methods are required here. So these are the certificates based authentication. But so rare cases people will use it. Some of the companies they will use this methods as well. So without single sign-on methods, without daily. Normally, when you are connecting to the HANA database here, you see when you are connecting to the HANA database here. So Ravi, and so you are using the passwords. But sometimes you don't need to always use the password in case of SSO enabled. You no need to enter the password here. Automatically, you can log in with your user here. You can see you can log in with your user here. So, but you only created the password, but you don't have the required privileges, right? So then privileges concept here. It's not only authentication, user ID, password. Just you have the user, sir, I have the password, then I can able to access everything in the database level. No, you require the authorization as well. Here there is a authorization methods here. You require the authorizations in the sense you require the required privileges or authorizations, both are same. Authorization is required when user using any one of the client interface to access the HANA database, you require the authorization. Depending upon the authorization provided to the user, you can perform the database operations here, privileges, right? So means there are the multiple privileges you have in the database level here, right? I think someone having doubts. If I think you have some doubts.
Question.
Okay. Thank you. So yeah, so for authorization means to access the particular tab, particular table, particular data, particular thing, you need the authorization. Sir, in the system user, we are able to access everything, right? That is the super user. You have the wider access. But in the real time, you won't get the super user. Only basis team owns the super user. What about the other user? Other users, they have access to their individual ID and respective privileges. They will get it out here. Depends upon the company. Normally security owns by the security team. Depends upon the user designation, the people designation, the respective role will be assigned to the business people here. There the multiple authorizations are available in the system here. Multiple authorization. One is the system privileges here. system privileges here. So one is the system, so privileges here, system privileges, and we have the object privileges here. Then we have the analytic privileges here. So we have the analytic privileges here. We have the package privileges here. Then application privileges here. Then privileges on users here. Right? You see here in the HANA Studio, we have the system privileges. System privileges here. System privileges means when you go to add the system privileges, there are the multiple privileges are there in the system. Suppose if you are the backup administrator, only backup related things you can see. You are the catalog read, only DB administrator, then database catalog related things. Certificate, script, scenario, auditors. So whatever monitoring admin monitor. Suppose you are the monitoring person, then only you can only view the monitoring related thing here. So now you assigned the this role. This you assigned the so only monitoring role to the user. Now you see Ravi can able to view the monitoring related things here. He can able to access the monitoring related things here. He can able to access the monitoring related things here. Right? So that is the one thing here. So you can able to access the monitoring related means monitoring whatever the people will do the monitoring that related tabs you can able to access it here. Right? So suppose yes, please.
My question is, why are we giving authorization in database?
Why we
There
are?
is, why do we give authorizations in database?
So some of the developers, not the business users, some of our developers. So developers, some other functional people, some BW people, they require the access to the database level. So they need to create the some views. They need to create the something in the database level directly instead of using the application. They will connect it to the applicate database level. That time we have to provide the access to the database level, not for business users, only developers. Developers, we have to provide it. Developers require the access. That is the reason. So only developers required. So why? Because they want to do the development. Then how they can log in? In your team also, you have the some monitoring team is there, L1 team is there, L2 team is there. If you provide the wider access to them, full access to them, then they will do something. Then again, it will impact the database operations, right? So that is the reason to avoid these restrictions and everything. So we need to limit the access to usage of the database. We need to limit the access. That's the reason we have to create the multiple roles. We have to create it to the users. So that's why system privileges. So suppose you are creating the, so we have, suppose it is the backup person, then backup related things you can assign it here. Why you need access to the other person? He is the monitoring, only monitoring related things you can assign to him. Then who is the, then he is the, so is the, so monitor only monitoring related things. Is the license related things you can see. So whatever he need, he is the trace, only trace related. He is the workload administrator, then he can assign the workload. The respective roles are there, privileges are there. So then we can assign to the respective thing here, right? Suppose now you see you are unable to access the HANA Studio administrator. Why? Because you don't have the authorization. So now what I will do, I will assign the catalog read. Okay, catalog read to the user, right? I assign it here. So now if you directly open the with Ravi user, then you can able to open the HANA Studio screen now. Why we have not done it? Why we have not able to access previously? You are not the authorized person. Now you are I'm unable to access it here, right? So now when I'm unable to I'm able to access here, right? But here also I cannot do all the things here. I cannot do the all the things here. Like suppose I'm trying to edit the some parameters. I cannot do it. I can able to. So previously if I am able to if I want to access something, see all the buttons are disappeared. So it's not enabled button here. Why? Because I don't have, not the, I don't have the trace admin related role. That's why I am unable to edit the trace admin related functionalities and everything here, right? So that is the one thing here. So, and also object. System privileges means in the system, if any tabs you require the access, any functionalities, that is the system privileges here. So what about the object privileges? Object privileges means database table level permissions here. Object privileges are SQL privileges here. So suppose if you require the authorizations to the database objects, modifying the access to the database objects here, then this object privileges are required here. The schema, the object privileges are required here. Schema, the object privileges are required here. That's called the object privileges here. Then suppose one person is the maybe he is only developer, he required only access to the only one table, he required the access. Only he required the access to the one table only, one table. Suppose like example, yesterday we created something like ECP2. Yeah, ECP2, ECD, there is a volume size, there is a only one table he required the access. Then we can provide the only one table access. That is only select statement. Only he need to do the select, not cannot be the update. Then so here this user, whatever the user you are assigning this object, only can able to access the related object only, not valid for the all the authorizations here. Object privilege means so objects, particular database object privileges means tables, table level data you are giving the access to the users, right? System means system level functionality, system level tabs, system level administration, anything you want to do that way. This is the data level, anything you want to do, then you can give the permissions to the system here, right? So that is the one. Analytical privileges means analytical privileges that will be created by the our developer. Analytical calculation views, attributes views. So then attributes views, analytical views, he will create the analytical views here. The privileges means developer will do this one, right? In the content tab, see here content tab insufficient privileges. But when you access through the system user, you can able to access now. So in the content tab, people will create the some analytical privileges. Then there is a some privileges they will create it here. They will create the some development. So they will create the package. They will create the so package, they will create the package as something, and they will do the something, they will create it here. Analytical privileges, they will create it here, right? So they will create the packages and they will create the some calculation we use. So many things they will create it here, right? So they will create it here like that. They will create it. They will do that from calculation of the views, content, data, anything. Some they will do that one. So suppose you have to provide the access to the that person, you need access to the that person here, then you can use the analytical views we can provide the access to that person here, right? So that kind of development, whatever the developer developed, he don't need access to the system and object, he don't need only access to the particular development has been done, he need access, then that kind of access we can assign to them here, right? Packages privileges. Packages means if anything packages are developed, packages privilege means previously you developed the some of the packages, right? So jet training, something like that, you training, something like that, you created the some packages here, right? So some packages you created here. So some system dot packages. So only that time of packages you want to read that the packages, then you can provide the access to the that package here, right? Application packages here means so our some of the developers, they will develop the some of the applications in the development in the HANA database level also. They will do the some of the applications development, access engine related applications. They will develop it here, developers. So that kind of anything, just you can add it, right? So privileges on the users, then different users. Suppose you need access to the same as like system user access means debugging access, then you can provide the privileges on the users. This is normal. So anyone, either system or object or analytical package. So anything you want to assign it, you can assign to the respective user. You can assign to the respective user here, right? Respective user, you can assign to the, yes, please.
Font little bigger.
What?
Font. The letters are very small.
Okay, HANA Studio letters are very small, you are saying.
Yeah.
That I don't know how to increase it then.
Okay. Thanks.
That I don't know. Let me check. This is Ana Studio, right? I'm not sure if it is the. Where can I increase the Ana Studio? Default, this is like this only
I
because.
tried doing it, I couldn't. So I couldn't find anything.
Okay. Is it okay now? You see, just I minimized it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, much better.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, maybe screen is if is large, then it is giving very small. Let me minimize something. Okay, I think it's better. Okay, I think this is better. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, yeah, no problem. Yeah. So, yeah, these are the privileges we have here. So depends upon the so the user activities security team, they will in advance, they will create the all the things here, right? They are the technical users and they are the real users. They are the two types of users. Technical user means we means technical user, we are directly work with the system. Then we don't we so we are directly work on the system, we'll do the administration tasks and the system here. So database user, real users here. So which means the real person who wants to work in the system, our developers, right? Our developers here, right? In the developers also, they are the standard users and restricted users are there, right? So in the users, if I talk about the users wise, who will use this database security part and everything means they are the, they can divide it into the two types here. One is the standard users. Means technical users. Technical user means DBA administrators here. Means by default system users is, they will do the administration activities and everything here. They are not the humans. Just they have created the system. Then we will use that system. Then they will. Some of the real users means we have the individual users. We want to work in the database. We want to do the some developments. We want to create the application. We want to do the something in the database level. That time we are the real users. Then real users are so standard users. Normally we will get assigned. We will create the users. Then we will have the required privileges to access the database related things and everything here. Database related things, anything we can do it here. So to create the user, then right click on the security folder here. Security folder here. Right click on the security folder users, then we can create the new user here. Then here we can create the new user and the user which you are creating the respective privileges we can assign to them here. But if the team plans in advance, sir, instead of now itself you are assigning the based upon the user, you are assigning the related things. But if you go with the if you plan the all the roles here, if you plan the all the roles here, if you plan the if you plan the all the things here in advance means roles creation means in advance we have the multiple roles are there here, directly we can assign the granted roles to the user instead of going to the one tab, two tabs, third tab, fourth tab. Then if you go to the right click on the role and click on the new role, then we can create the one z basis and the monitoring role. So whoever the monitoring team, then you can directly assign the for the monitoring person he required the monitoring role is required. Monitoring person he required the monitoring role. This is required, right? Then you can assign the this role to the that user here. Then one role you created here. Then like that you can create the multiple roles in advance. In advance means before then one is the for the developers. For the developers require the access to the object privileges. So then what objects you want to assign it here means whatever you are when the time of user creation, whatever you are doing here, all the things you are saving into the roles here. You are saving into the role. Directly you are assigning this role to the user. Then he can able to access the related things instead of doing the multiple tabs. He required the access to the this one. He required the access to the some of the objects here. So like that, so we can assign the multiple things, we can create it and we can assign multiple roles, we can create it here. So tomorrow if any requirement comes here, so to create the new user is the developer, then right click and click on the create the user here, right? Suppose developer, right? So dev person, so dev person user you are creating here. Then password reset and everything, password you can set it out here. Developer means then you need to think like what roles you have to assign. what things, what roles, what objects. Instead of that, you already created the predefined roles you already created, right? So something z dev, something role you created here, right? Z underscore dev role you created. So then you can assign the dev role to the user. Then directly you can assign the role to the user. Then you can able to access. In that role, you have already assigned the object privileges, everything you have assigned. So you can able to do all this person, dev person you created here. So Ravi person you created. So then so roles you created mean these all are the so standard roles which are come as part of the system installation. This come. Then if you want to assign these things, you can assign it. Some people they don't want to assign. Modeling means developer, monitoring, right? Administrators. There are the multiple roles are available here. You can assign these roles, standard roles. But some people they don't want to assign the standard one. They will create the customized one with the standard naming convention, Z underscore, Y underscore, something like that. Then that time also you can create the role. Then you can assign the some privileges to the these roles here. You can assign the some privileges to the roles. Then the related persons can able to do the respective activities in the systems, respective activities in the system here. That's why we have the role concept here, user based and role concept here. Otherwise, during the user creation itself, you need to think and what role we need to provide to this user or object place. Instead of doing the directly, can go to the granted roles and you can assign the list of roles to the user. Then you can able to perform the respective activities in the system. Respective activities in the system you can able to perform here. That's what we have to do it here. So users and the roles concept here. So now when you go to the system, now you see here, now we have multiple tabs, multiple users you created, and multiple people are logged into the system here. Then when you see here, when you go to the performance tab here, then you see the sessions here. There the multiple sessions are initiated here. By whom? By who sessions here, right? Few are the system user, few are the Ravi users, few are the system. There are the multiple sessions you opened. See, in this way we can track it here. Okay, database user is the Ravi, he did something, then so we can find out what he did it and everything here, right? So instead of logging to the system, I am also logging to the system user, you guys also log into the system user. If someone deleted something, then how can I troubleshoot, how can I find out who deleted what and everything, right? In that case, then we have the system user. By using this system user, we can find out the what went wrong and everything here. What went wrong and everything we can find out here, right? So that is the one thing here. That is the so one thing here we have, right? So system database user and system user we have here, right? So that's why we have the security concept here, user ID and password based roles here. But here we will not use much in the database level. Actually, it's not required much knowledge for the security part. Why? Because only we means technical teams like either basis or developers, so only require the access to the some developments related activities here. So some organizations they won't deal the security database level. Some organizations they will create it for the developers as well for do the some developments related things and everything here. So why? Because database is the very confidential. Why? Because all the confidential data stores into the database level in the catalog. So that is the very important here. Also here, if you see the security tab here we can enable the some audit policies also here. Why? Because some of the banking sector systems they will create the audit policies here. They will perform the some auditing, right? So sometimes what happens, they will delete the some auditing actions, they will do the something in the system, then so that will be recorded in the system here, right? That will be recorded in the system here. So then which users you want to record, then those users you need to define, right? So all users you need to define in the systems here, right? So then in this way, so one audit policy you have created here, so that as per this policy, if anyone deleted anything in the system, suppose like drop, so if it is a successful or unsuccessful or all, so then audit level is the warnings. If it is the warning, then definitely that will be recorded in the audit log. That will be recorded. Okay, particular user is trying to delete the something that has been recorded in the systems. So then during the audit time, they will ask us, they will question us, why you try to delete something in the database level, something like that. They will do the auditing. So these are the audit policies. We have to enable it in the system. Multiple policies we can enable it in the systems here, right? Auditing, especially in the banking sector systems, normally they won't provide the access to the database level. In case if anyone our development teams or for technical teams they require the access, then definitely the auditing will be enabled in the database level. Why? Because it's a very important auditing. So based upon the audit policies, then we will get the access here, right? So minimum password length, how it will be, right? So then also the password restrictions. Suppose in the database level, what is the minimum password length? What is the special characters here? Then so you can see the number of failed attempts, 6. Then last reused passwords, initial password, the password policies here. And also we can also put the passwords in the blacklisted password. Suppose some people they will use the countries in the names, then those countries we can put into the blacklisted here, so that the people they cannot set the password, they cannot set the password like a in their password. Then some people they will put the consecutive letters in the password, then 1 2 3 4 5, something like that they will put the passwords, then that is also rejected status. Then some people they will put the so something like different words, something like that, right? So that time, so this type of things we can keep into the systems here. This type of things we can keep it into the system. Blacklisted passwords here. So that they cannot keep this password. Whatever the passwords you set it out here, they cannot keep it here. This is a password length, how it will be, right? This one, right? Next one is SAML provider means in the SSO configuration, the identity providers we have to implement it here. So data volume encryption. Data volume encryption here. Suppose sometimes we may have to encrypt the data volume. So why? Because suppose someone hacks your database at operating system level, all the data, one copy of data storing into the data folder level as well, right? One copy of data storing into the actual data storing into the data folder level only. Someone hacks your operating system, they can view the data inside of the data folder level. That is also one kind of security breach. Then what we can do to avoid this kind of things, what we can do, if you encrypt the table, encrypt the data volume here, so that data volume index server and access engine tenant database, what will happen, so that no one cannot view the confidential data in the data folder level as well here. It will be in the machine learning format, it will be displayed for them, no one cannot encrypt it here. That is the encryption mechanism.
To
So we
encrypt
don't
access engine.
access engine, some of the web-based requests, right? So that's why, so they are encrypting for the access engine related things as well here. So access engine web-based request will process and everything. It's coming from the browser. Browser means internet. So that so they think like maybe they if they encrypt the access engine related things also they can view the data. That's why so they are encrypting the access engine related things also they are encrypting here. So index server is the main actual data resides into the index server. So but data volume means OS level data folder here. So means so here if they encrypt this one, if the encryption is not enabled, if someone abnormally they logged into the your operating system level, they can go to the data folder level, they will execute the some abnormal commands, and they will see the confidential passwords, confidential data. Why? Because one copy of data storing into the data folder level as well, so they may chances to theft the data in the OS level as well. So that's why if you encrypt this one, so no one cannot hack it. If they hack it also, they cannot view the data. Why? Because thefting. So we can, it will be encrypting. Encrypting means the binary code level it will be displayed. Any password, it will not be visible for us, but system can read that passwords here. That's why, so it encrypting the passwords also possible here. These are the some of the auditing policies at the database level here. Passwords. So some people they don't want to minimum length 8 letters. Some people they will keep the 12 letters in the banking sector systems, especially banking sector systems, they have the so very huge things they will configure it here. Very securely they will configure it in the banking sector systems. Yes.
So when we encrypt the data in the index server, and let's suppose we have some kind of exchange running and uh, we are giving data for the EDI. So how, how would it get unencrypted over there then?
System
Because the
will take
data
care
is
of that
always.
one. Only
Oh,
system will take care of that one encryption mechanism here. Just only so any queries or anything that cannot read the data. That's it. Means query means the data will be displayed, but in the form of binary code format, it will be displayed for us. If you want to view some data, something that will be displayed in the binary code format, it will be displayed here. So that we cannot read it. But system they can encrypt. System they can crypt it, encrypt it, and decrypt it. That is possible from system side. Only if you are executing something, if you want to view the data, that is not possible. It is possible, but that will be displayed in the different format, different coding, binary code format, 01 something like that. It will be displayed here. That we cannot decrypt here. Only system can decrypt that procedures.
so in HANA system integration with the other systems, we would always be exchanging private and public keys.
Other system integration via connections, HTTP connections. Yeah, sometimes keys exchange. So that is also required. The keys means OS level, the SSFF keys. So that is required. Suppose applications, definitely applications will connect to the client tools to integrate it here. Some HTTP or some JDBC connections, they will connect it here. So that time this is no worries about the this encryption mechanisms and everything.
Yes.
This is encryption mechanism only for to view the data. People cannot view the data. That is the main thing here. Suppose if any confidential data, someone you set the password, but the password will be saved into the somewhere in the database level, right? So if someone open, who is the developer, developers knows these tricks. Then developer open and they will view the password, whatever the password you saved, that will they can view the password. But if you do the encryption, then they cannot view that password as well. Suppose if it's the banking sector system, so suppose like one of the reputed bank system, so that banking sector, your financial table is there, someone wants to so view your confidential information and everything, then they cannot view the confidential information. It will be encrypting format. So like that, so we can see the so changes in the we can set the some settings database level for the security related things. We can set it out the database level itself. But normally we no one bother about database level. Why? Because why the business users require the access to the database level. So basis people we always use the system user only, but only developers we will not share this one. We will create the separate user and separate roles we will assign to them. In case of your organization planning to start the developments in the so DB level itself, that time we will use this one. Some organizations they won't use only SAP, they will use it. Then SAP level authorizations are required that time. Anyway, SAP is connecting to the DB level. So always the data comes to the database level. We as a administrator, we require the access to the database level and some privileges are required to operate the data tables and everything here. Okay. So from here, what you can do, use the system user, create your own users and assign the respective roles and try different scenarios so that so if you avoid the accessing the system user, if you use the your own user, what will happen? You can see the real load, real transactions in the system. See lot of transactions, right? Real load in the system so that so we can understand who deleted what user, then all the information we can see it here. All the information we can see it here. So that's what you can do it. So create your own user, try to log in and do the system user also you can do it. But so better to create your own user, you will get the practice, then assign the roles, then try to log in with your user, then do the things, how the things are working and everything. Okay. So that's it for today. Any questions, anyone? Okay, that's it.